I was always interested in making things and using textiles as my medium of expression, and that's how I was interested initially in fashion design. And I studied fashion design, and I knew I wanted to go into design or a creative field when I was in elementary school. So a lot of my focus was geared into being in a creative field. From the fashion design industry, I was fortunate enough to work in a lot of photo shoots and really work with individuals that are well-known photographers for magazines, and I was able to see how photographers were able to work and how the image could be so powerful, and how that could resonate in people's minds, and how it can educate, how it can communicate. And from there I ended up going into photography and using a lot of the conceptual skills that I had learned in fashion design, but applying it to a different medium, in this case, the camera. KYOPO Project is my first extensive, long series, and it was my first major art piece, I would say. Before that, I was doing other types of jobs, like some commercial types of jobs, and some ad campaign. So it was different from the art aspect. But it was something I wanted to do, and I did this as a love and a passion. So a lot of the energies and the fuel came from just self-passion with this first comprehensive art project. The focus for this project was literally just an exploration. So there wasn't this ultimate end goal of a message. What was interesting was that this message of diversity ensued, but the actual process of the project was really about creating a structure, a kind of compositional structure, as well as an interview structure that allowed me to be able to contain information through portraiture, both through photographic portraiture and textual portraiture. And what was nice was that we saw so many different types of issues that surfaced from this structure, obviously talking about a universal race, talking about how global we are, transnationalism, a lot of issues that I think are of our time and are of a current contemporary focus. However, this was all done in New York City, and I said earlier, if it was done in another city, I'm really curious to see what types of results would surface. Would they be the same types? Would they be extremely different? And we will never know. So. The demographics of this social group is very New York City oriented, or people that venture out to New York City. So I think the similar characteristic is this understanding of difference and curiosity for differences, this enveloping of different cultures, experiencing different cultures, this sense of understanding or being a bit more open-minded. But these individuals also had to go through a particular journey to be able to come to those conclusions. So they've all, not all, but many of them have gone through personal upbringings that had been not the easiest to kind of come to their comfort level of who they are as an individual and how they balance their ethnicity and how they identify themselves as American as well, or global, or New Yorker, depending. Overall, I don't think they really can ingest the Korean American term quite clearly. They either say you're either Korean or you're American, you can't be both, or they look at me from the outside and then they think I'm just Chinese, which makes perfect sense because I look Chinese when I'm with, compared to all the other Chinese women out there, I could easily blend in. But they definitely, like in the States and like in other countries, are always trying to understand initially by looking at an individual from the appearance where that individual is from. So, I had one taxi driver correct me and say that I was Korean. I wasn't Korean American, and another, taxi driver said, "Well, make up your mind. You must be American," because a lot of them like to converse, right? So, but I think as we become more global and have more interactions with different peoples, either visiting or coming into different countries and traveling, there is going to be more of an understanding how these fusions of cultures do identify you. So.